On this introduction page, I've given my email address and the link to a web page that I did that has all of the information I'm going to give you today and a lot more. So you can jot that down, or maybe if you can't get it, John Sarver can put you in touch with me. I live in Lima Township, just outside of Chelsea, and I'm on the fringe of the DTE service area. And I blame that on the fact that I have really terrible, unreliable power from DTE. And since I live in the country, I have a well. And so if I have no power, I have no water. And power failures are a really big inconvenience when we have them. And they happen monthly where I live. Like almost everybody who puts in solar, I wanted to save money and I wanted to stop burning fossil fuels. But I especially wanted to make my power more reliable. And so that means putting in a battery backup along with the solar. And I think it's interesting how much the need for backup power influenced the design of the system. So just so you know what we're talking about, my system is grid tied, like John said, with battery backup. And the batteries, when the grid power goes down, when the DTE power goes down, they supply a lot of the household electrical needs, especially the well pump and the refrigerator, those things that are really necessary in modern living. The system was installed by Homeland Solar, went online in March 2018, so it's been operating for about 5.5 years. And I'm fortunate enough, this was long enough ago that I was able to get net metering, and I still have it. I will for a total of 10 years before the grandfather goes out. So net metering means that the utility pays me as much as I pay them for the electricity I generate. It's smaller than Cliff's, 4.5 kilowatts, 14 panels, and it's a ground mounted array. And in addition to that, I've got 10 kilowatts of power in a lead acid battery bank. The hardware is all Outback. And the reason for Outback, which is pretty unusual in this business nowadays, is that I really wanted the lead acid batteries rather than lithium batteries. At the time we did this installation, that was when there were lots of lithium batteries catching fire in aircraft and laptops and cars. So this is what the array outdoors looks like. And this is what I've got in the basement. And you can see the Outback equipment is very modular. You buy separate charge controllers and a separate inverter, and the batteries are in a separate box on the floor. So the way I went about designing the system is I chose the battery size because my goal was to get reliable backup power. And so based on the amount of electricity I typically used, I chose batteries that were big enough to run the house for about 2 days when the solar panels were covered with snow in the middle of the winter. And then the solar array size came along with that because I needed a solar array that was large enough to keep the house going during a long power outage. You know, I said that the batteries will last 2 days, but if the sun shines during the winter and the power is still out, the solar array keeps the house going. So already there was a problem because the solar array that I needed was too big for the utility to approve because of the small amount of electric usage I had. And so I was able to persuade DTE that my electric usage was going to go up after I installed the solar system. And the way I did that is I moved a water heater from my separate geothermal electric service into the electric service. I was fortunate to be able to do that. Somebody else might do it by buying an electric vehicle or something like that. But I needed the additional, I needed the permission to put in a bigger solar array so that I could make sure I keep my batteries charged and keep my house going in the middle of the winter. Another problem that I ran into right away was that 3 different installers came to my house and looked at my south-facing roof and said, that's a really good south-facing roof. It'll be ideal. We'll put the panels there. But then I did some more investigating with a tool called Sun Surveyor. It's a phone app. Cost me $10, and I don't know how I could live without it now. It shows me where the sun is in a virtual reality kind of display at any time in the past or future. And I used that to see that I had some trees that would shade the roof during December, and cut about half of my solar production during December. Now, the installers would say, the way they usually think is that you don't make much electricity in December anyway, so why does it matter if it's cut in half? But I wanted the December production because I wanted the reliable power. I wanted the batteries charged. I wanted to be able to run the house. So I paid the extra to get a ground mount outside the house where I could get good December sunshine and power. So I've had the system for 5 years, I said, and it produces almost exactly what I've been using during those 5 years, which is exactly what DTE wanted. Came out even closer than anybody expected. And since I'm net metering, my electric bill over that period is only the connection charge, $8.50, $9 nowadays, I think, a month. And the reliability is fabulous. The power from the battery comes on instantaneously. There's no glitches in our power. Sometimes we don't even know that the DTE power is out until we hear our neighbor's generator come on. So Cliff was talking about financial issues. People always ask. I've been looking at this in a slightly different way. The bill from the installer was really big, really scary, $30,000. But like Cliff, I was able to subtract the income tax rebate, and I subtracted an additional for figuring out the cost of the solar. I subtracted an additional $10,000 because that's at least what I would have paid for a backup generator. And in addition to getting a backup generator, I got a perfect backup generator because when my neighbor's power goes out, the generator comes on, but it takes about 10 seconds or so for it to come up to speed and start generating power. So it doesn't really stop the power failures, it just makes them shorter. In our case, the power failures just don't occur at all. And so if you do the arithmetic, you end up with the system at the time cost about $2.50 per watt, which at the time was actually quite good, quite an inexpensive system. And then at the beginning of this year, I went through my bills and found that it's going to pay back to electric rates, and sooner than that if they go up, which, as Cliff said, they surely will. So all that said, everything for me is changing. I just went on to a time of day rate from DTE, which is actually going to make things better for me because I'll generate electricity at the high time of day and use it at the low time of day, and maybe even make money using net metering. But I've also got an electric vehicle now, which is going to really raise my electric consumption. So that's all I really had to say. And I guess I'll wait for questions.